She was an incredible sculptress. She studied at the Slade and gone to Paris. Her work had been accepted in the Salon. She was an incredible traveller. She went all over the world. She worked as a refugee worker in Macedonia, saw some awful things in wartime. And for her, Captain Scott was a bit of a dandy. He was a bit of a celebrity. She wasn't quite sure what to make of him on their first meeting, just thought he was rather ugly, in fact. And it was only on their second meeting, and she saw something in him, that he was this wonderful rock, as she called him, and she had this fantastic following of suitors. I mean, quite an extraordinary number of young men falling at her feet. And she always, sort of led them on a certain amount and then would push them away. With Scott, something changed, and she felt that this was the man that she wanted to live her life with. She had this dream of marrying someone who is, and together they would father this heroic son, and she talks about this all the way through from being a child. And finally, when she meets Captain Scott, it's like she's met her star. This is the man, and she says in her diaries, "I've met the father of my son." This is where it all started for Captain Scott and for Shackleton. This is the first ship that they used to go down to the Antarctic. It was both the first expedition for them. For Captain Scott, it was his first command as an expedition leader. It would make him a polar hero eventually. For Shackleton, this was even much more than that, because this was his way of securing the love of Emily, who he had been courting for many years and who he was desperately in love with. He left the merchant marine looking for something that would make him worthwhile in her eyes so that she would marry him. And as soon as he got the posting onto Discovery, he wrote a letter asking Mr. Dorman if he could have her hand in marriage. And that was it. She married him on their return. This is where Shackleton sat and dreamed of going back down to the Antarctic. This is when he came here and he just thought, actually, I really need to go back down to the Antarctic. This is where Emily said, how can you keep an eagle chained in the backyard? This is where he really became the polar hero that we all know and love him to be.